What's up, peeps? Julian Williams here at the Distance. Got a video for you guys. It's a post-fight to Tomasz Adamek versus Eddie Chambers. That was for the IBF North American Heavyweight Championship. It's one of those unnecessary belts. Pretty much, put together two former heavyweight title contenders, Tomasz Adamek and Eddie Chambers. I predicted the fight to be a decision in favor of Tomasz Adamek and the fight ended up being a decision for Tomasz Adamek. But pretty much just looking at the fight, and I did watch the fight about twice. Pretty much, I thought it was It was a little closer than the judges had it. I can definitely not see this fight being a 119, 109 fight. I don't think Adamek went in and won 11 out of the 12 rounds. Just being that Eddie Chambers did catch Adamek quite a few times with the right hand, and pretty much was only fighting with one hand. But just overall, just looking at the fight, I just think that Adamek won the fight just on sheer work rate. Letting his hands go and things of that nature. But you could tell by looking at the fight that Adamek was a little bit frustrated fighting Chambers, and this is just due to the fact that Chambers was hard to land. It was hard for him to land on Chambers. Chambers covered up well, and not only did he cover up well, but he was countering him with the right hand over and over again. And Adamek didn't really have an answer, for that right hand counter because what was happening was his jab was being timed. And also, I think that whatever Adamek was doing, like his body language and what he was doing was being somewhat telegraphed, so Chambers was able to time it with his right hand. So I was thinking to myself, looking at the fight, that I was kind of wondering what was going on with Chambers. I didn't realize that his hand was injured or anything. I'm just wondering, why was it kind of a change of pace as he switch hitting or something like that to confuse Adamek, but I guess, the right hand was injured, something along those lines, and Chambers just came out, pretty much fighting with the right hand, used the left hand as a decoy from time to time to kind of feint with it. He jabbed with it on occasion, but just a lot of time the story of the fight was Chambers' counter right hand. He countered Adamek just pinpoint, with that right hand from time to time. Now, if you look at the rounds, Adamek, was throwing a lot more punches, but wasn't necessarily landing. On the other hand, you had Eddie Chambers, who wasn't throwing as many punches, but was landing. And you could tell early in the fight that Chambers was landing kind of in between Adamek's punches. You could tell he's landing in between his shots. Early in the fight, the right hand was somewhat landing at will. He kind of had that right hand up a little bit, and he just drops it. It hits Adamek right in the chin perfectly. But just looking at the fight as it progressed, there were rounds that Adamek just won based on sheer activity. But on the other hand, you had Eddie Chambers, and he wasn't as active, but he's landing clean shots. So this was a fight to me that was a little more difficult to score. You could argue the fight being 7-5 Adamek or 7-5 Chambers a draw. I thought it was a close fight. And it really depends on what you're looking for with this fight. Personally, I had a draw. That's just me. I had a draw. I might have to watch it again. But both times I watched it, I had a draw. But at the same time, you could argue the fight for Eddie Chambers, but also you could argue the fight for Adamek. He's going in, he's throwing, 80, 90 punches around. But his activity wasn't that effective. But on the other hand, it looked better to the judges because in between when Eddie Chambers is hitting him with a shot, with a counter punch, Adamek's moving his hands and letting his hands go, and he's moving around the ring. But also you could tell he was a bit frustrated in this fight. Like he wasn't able to land. He continued to get countered, and not only did he continue to get countered, but just overall, it was. I just think it was just a tough fight for Adamek. Because the thing with Chambers was he was using his feet. I think that Chambers had to think a lot more in this fight because he had to set up his shots, using subtle movement, whether it be feinting with the left, whether it be to kind of take a back step on his right foot, or whatever. He had to use a lot more to set up his shots. He didn't throw too many combinations, though. When he did land with the right, he always tried to follow it up with another right hand. But I thought that Chambers did enough to win. But also, Adamek did enough work to win. But at the same time, like I said, I had a draw. really depends on what you're looking for. So anyway, peace. Let me know what you think. That was Distance, and thanks for watching. Peace.